these days.
Jerry.
We're gonna go to the next presentation and report on CIF. Father Sontak is here, and Father Dan Borlick will speak afterwards.
Notre travail.
We're now going to have a presentation about CIF, the International Formation Center, St. Vincent de Paul. It offers the possibilities for ongoing formation for the confreres of various provinces with various programs. The center of the director, as you know, is Father Marcelo Marnim Team from the Philippines, and the vice director, assistant director, is Daniel Borlik of the Western Province of the United States. He's has already been working for a year with Marcelo. On the 1st of January 2014, Daniel will become the director, and because the term of Manin Team is over, and his vice director will be Father Adam Bandura from the province of Poland. Also, Father Adam will start on the 1st of January of 2014. Now, Father Daniel will present to you a report about what has been going on, what happened during the last year in CIF, and afterwards certainly he will present his vision for the future.
Spanish.
So I pass the word to Father Dan.
Father Greg Gay, Father General, invited me to come on my way back to Paris to offer a brief presentation. Now, I have to begin with an apology. The report that we sent you, or that we sent to someone, never was printed. And so we're working on that right now. I will have that translated into Spanish. We'll have at least 2 languages by this afternoon, which is the report on CIF since 1993. And it has a lot of details, most of which you are familiar with, I would believe. What I'm mostly interested in sharing with you today are some questions to you, some ideas about the future of CIF, and most importantly, some of your ideas about the future of the International Center of Formation and how we can help you, we can assist you in your own hopes for ongoing formation for your members. What I'd like you to imagine with me in these next few minutes is what we will be looking like as a congregation, as a group of missionaries in 10 years. So if you can just simply imagine yourselves with no restrictions, you no longer are worried about money, and about the health of your conference, because frankly, you no longer are visitors in 2023. But now you can think of what it could have been, and now you are dreamers, which is something that visitors would love to do, but oftentimes find ourselves working on crisis management. But it's very important that each visitor also be a dreamer. So this is one image of what Vincentians might look like in the year 2023. First, where would we be working? One great possibility would be we'd be working in large cities, but not often in the center of the cities. At least many of the missionaries would be working on the outskirts, the périphérique, or the outlying areas where a great number of working class people are finding themselves, and where you have a tremendous mix of needs, of cultures, of languages, and many other things. So possibly, and already some of these are taking place, on the periférico of Paris, on the outskirts of Paris, in the Distrito Federal of Mexico, in Shanghai, possibly in Brussels, Chicago, Sao Paulo, and many other places, Manila. In some of these places, we find missionaries already choosing to work in small groups experimentally on the outskirts where the poor are found. Who will they be working for? The subjects of evangelization in the future will most likely will not be people like ourselves. They will not be mirror images of us, our neighbors, like our family members, but most likely they will grow more and more to be immigrants, people that are displaced from their own native areas, oftentimes in search of jobs or of security. And they will be making up our community, our target group, our audience. In those groups of people, there will be classes and a variety of languages. Even if people speak the same language, oftentimes they will not understand each other because of their modismos or because of their expressions, the different parts of the country that they come from, their own accents. In these groups, in these neighborhoods, and even in these communities, there will always be the potential for conflict because of these differences. And there will be much of the work of the missionaries will be beginning projects. And our projects will not be projects that we ourselves are running or directing, but they will be projects in collaboration with other groups, with other people. We will be animating them. We will be collaborating with them. So who will we be working with in 2023? We will have missionary houses, most likely, but the majority of our collaborators will be people not ordained, not with vows, not one of us brothers or missionary priests, but will be other people who share the spirit of Vincent de Paul and a passion to bring good news to the poor. So we will be collaborating with others who are moved by the Vincentian spirit, just like we are, but who bring different gifts and different histories to our efforts. There'll be changes every day, so we won't be able to count on continuity in terms of lifestyle and customs and even the same way of expressing things all the time. There will be many difficulties, but surprisingly, there will be a great joy that grows more and more as the group, led by us, find ourselves more and more dependent on, reliant on God and on each other. So one possible vision of the Vincentians in the future is a vision that is not perhaps a very stable vision or a comforting vision, but could be very challenging, very dynamic, and from what I can see, is already beginning to happen in many places. Our numbers will continue to be smaller in relationship with those who are doing the work of the Congregation of the Mission, but our impact could become even greater. So, this is what I'm inviting you to do just for a few minutes. And we're going to do this in silence, just for a few minutes. Perhaps it would be useful for you to write down an idea or a possibility or a name or any kind of idea. But first of all, the question is, what is my vision? What is your vision or your great hope for your province or the region that you are in charge of as a visitor or as a leader? What could be the vision of your conference? The second question is, what are you going to do? What do you feel called to do as a group? Where do you see yourselves being led as a group in your province, in your region? The apostolates that you've been trained to realize, to bring about, where will you be doing them? If you've been trained as a group, as teachers, as theologians, as evangelizers, as preachers, where will you be doing that? And with whom will you be exercising those apostolates? And then finally, one question. There's many other questions, but these are just three. The third question is how are we going to live in community in the future? What would it look like? How possibly could it look like that you believe would be good, that would be in the line of Vincent de Paul, that would be something that you believe is being moved today by the Spirit, by the Holy Spirit? And as part of that, who will be your companions in the mission? So here's the questions. They're simple questions. I'm sure you have more others, but anything that can flesh out what you think could articulate a vision for your province and for you. And I ask that we'll spend 3 minutes now quietly writing. Just writing down. If you don't like to write and you remember everything you're thinking, then that's fine too. All right. At this moment, at your table, I'd ask that we just take the next couple minutes, 3 minutes, and just simply share with the other members of your table as best you can some of these ideas in your vision in your region, in your province. What would it look like? What would you like it to look like? What is your vision, your hope for the congregation, the mission in 10 years? So just on your own, out loud, just share with the members in your group an idea or two ideas that you think you find compelling or inspiring or hopeful for you. Or something that you find very, very challenging and difficult. All right. Está bien? Está bien, c'est tout? I'd like to ask you now if someone from each table just share one idea about the future, your vision in the future. How about from this table? Just one of you. We'll take a sampling. This will be a sampling of ideas around hopes and perhaps fears, or what you think are real important needs. In this table, what did you...
Thank you. Most of us consider our province as a growing province. So we picture that in the future, our number will be growing and getting bigger and bigger. And that's why we need to organize better our formation and also our financial, sufficiency, autonomy. And also, since we are getting bigger, we need to collaborate among our provinces, among the conference, to exchange the resources for the formation.
Okay.
And we want to be involved more in the international missions and also in the mission where the people are abandoned.
Okay.
That's our picture. And how we do it, I think most of us mentioned that formation is very important for our provinces. That the
You're talking formation for the younger men?
for the younger.
In preparation for
Yes,
ministry?
exactly, for the mission.
Initial formation.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. How about an idea? Excellent. So this is one kind of a vision of a province that's growing, that is expecting more young people to come in, and that a province that is dealing with a crisis around building up resources so that can happen, but also a province that's thinking in terms, international terms, beyond the province for missions. All right. How about this table? Table 1.
We will work with people of diverse culture because of the migrants, and also we go beyond our province and we deepen our Vincentian missionary identity. And also maybe in some provinces there may not be a big change as such, and that's how we look forward. Yes.
Okay. How about table 5?
We were speaking about that our desire that our vocations grow and also the missionaries grow in the numbers, that we have some youth that are decidedly continuing the mission, that we can also find new forms to carry out identity as missionaries, that we may see new ways, new creative ways to do this, and that the missionaries be convinced of their mission.
Table 12.
We had different vision from different provinces. one of those responses is a growing province looking forward, perhaps in 2023, to give birth to another province or a vice province and a region, and to have more activities in serving the poor. Some of the provinces that has the number diminishing thought about perhaps a reconfiguration with the neighboring province, and somebody expressed a bleak future for the conference members. And another province is hoping by 2023 they might get another 15 missionaries from other sponsor provinces. So that's the discussion we had. Thank you.
All right. Table 4. Cuatro.
My hopes, as I thought about on Ecuador, will be these following ones. Have missionaries that are formed well, who identify themselves well with the missionary and Vincentian charism, which are open to the local church and to the universal church. The province of Ecuador, in a few years, will be a young province. We have vocations, and we are growing, usually.
To ask one table that heard ideas that you thought were hopeful, but of a group of a province that's diminishing, a province that has less numbers. Did anyone share any ideas that you thought were hopeful, but different, a different future for a province with less conference? Anybody? Fernando?
Our province from Chile is small and has grown in the last years. We have always been only 25 conference. One time we were 13. And our hope is not to be a big province. We will never reach that. We will never be that. Our average age is 43. 44 years of age. We are experiencing difficult times, and we don't know that it's hard to have a lot of people information. When we talk about reconfiguration, it shouldn't be about being more to do the same. Our idea is to do new things, creative things that revitalize who we are. Not just to unite it so that we could be 20 to go become 100 and still do the same things. Our idea is to be full of the spirit of Jesus Christ evangelizer and response to the challenges that the world has today in a more creative way and go where people do not want to go, to do those works and missionary works that nobody wants to do it. Our motivation, our hope, or our vision of the reconfiguration and the greater sense is not to be more, even though we may need more formators or more priests. Our idea is that to do new things that respond to the new needs of this new world.
Did any other table have something similar to that? A table with diminishing numbers in one of the provinces, but with new hopes for a future that's different. Oui, Yves?
En français, oui.
In French, we have exchanged on the creativity of community life and the experiences that are being had by those people who come to our community. We have an association in France that calls on religious congregations for concerning their buildings. These matters happen in the last 5 or 6 years. This association is called Lazare. These people asked religious congregations to accept welcoming into their buildings. First, the congregation stays in its place. Could be religious women. Then the studio apartments for people in difficulties, street people, and then third, rooms for students. This is the charter of this way of living for this association. It's called Lazare. It's interesting for us because everybody remains in his own home. With community life, these students are students, and people in difficulties receive some place to stay, and that's important too. There's a community room and a oratory. Every day, the students and people mix. The students and the street people and the members of the house come together in this at least once a week, either for prayer or for a meal. And I just cite this example to tell you that there's a lot of creativity in community life, which certainly changes our typical way of living. That there are certainly probably others, but I find that in fact these are original ideas, and we keep our identity with these.
Dizendo que están en crecimiento, porque infelizmente la realidad de algunas de nuestras provincias en América Latina y también en Portugal, que hace parte de nuestro grupo, la realidad es disminuir.
The reality is that our members are diminishing. It's good to hear that the Asian provinces are growing. Many of us in the outskirts of in Brazil. It would be the great cities, and to be in the outskirts it's great to hear this. It worries us that our presence be truly missionary. Not that we just be as pastors of parishes in a traditional sense. It worries us that our presence be missionary, truly missionary, wherever we may be, even if we're small numbers.
As visitors, you are taken very seriously your responsibility to also be visionaries within your community, to see a new direction, to be moved by that new direction, impelled by and brought on by the Holy Spirit, and to be able to communicate what you feel is that new direction as best you can with your confreres, to hear what their hopes and what their difficulties are around the future, but to be thinking in terms of a future as missionaries of Vincent de Paul. After this presentation, each of you will receive the report of CIF, which we published and which our in-house detective, Father Joe Agostino, has just found. And it's already translated into the 3 languages that are being offered, English, Spanish, and French. So you'll receive that, and we ask that you keep that as part of your booklet, but more importantly, that you read it. Because that report will give a very brief but clear summary of activities of the Center of International Formation in Paris since its inception in 1993. This report was prepared some time, and we have been doing a lot of reflection on CIF because of changes that are happening within our own community, but also are happening outside of our community in the world of evangelization, in the world of the Vincentian family. So we have changes of the number of people who are participating. In the early years, in the 90s, even until the late 90s, oftentimes there would be 30 or even more participants, 30 to 50 participants in a CIF program in Paris. And many people participated, and in a way that satisfied over the years a great longing and a great need that had been expressed by your predecessors, other visitors, for many, many years. However, recently, the numbers are dropping of the members that are the participants that are coming from those same provinces. And some provinces who have not sent any men are dealing with financial difficulties or perhaps with reluctance or other difficulties of letting their men leave for long periods of time to go to France. We're trying to address that, and our numbers, for instance, our next program that we have scheduled in September will have 20 to 23 participants, which is very good for CIF at this time. But in order for that to happen, we've had to promote the program more and had to ask for more financial assistance from a number of provinces that have been offering or have been willing to do that, and other agencies. The fact is that those who are in greater need of the ongoing formation CIF program, members of the Congregation of the Mission, are now coming from younger but poorer provinces. And we need to take that into consideration in our planning. We can do so in CIF by having perhaps better promotion, but provincial visitors need also to plan for their own members, to put aside, to dedicate some funds for their ongoing formation, and to help their members plan for that kind of a short leave, maybe 3 months, up to 3 months. A program would be 2 months now. So 3 months to allow for some travel, perhaps a visit to Rome. These are important considerations in the life and the ongoing formation of confreres. So for those of you that have made sacrifices so that your men can continue to go to these programs, we are all very grateful, because when they come back, they are renewed, they know Vincent de Paul very well, and the kinds of hopes that you have expressed about being identified with the spirit of Vincent de Paul and being interested to follow more clearly the call of the constitutions, those things are much more realizable after a program such as CIF, which offers time for reflection and personal renewal. But we see changes in finances all throughout the congregation, so that even internationally, we're finding that much of what we do has a good beginning, But in order for our programs to continue, they need to be more collaborative. They can't simply continue from the same sources or the same donations as they began. And the last thing, there's changes not only in our audiences, but also in their needs. The one program that we have which is not changing, except for its length, is the ongoing formation program. It was 3 months, it's now 2 months. But we have many other programs as well. And we'll continue the ongoing formation, but now it will continue only during the autumn, during the months of September and October. Sometimes we begin at the very end of August and end in the beginning of November. It's 8 weeks somewhere in the fall. But we have other courses during the spring and sometimes even during the summer. And in the past, we've had servant leadership. Typically, at least 2 out of every 3 years, we have Vincentian heritage, which has been directed to people with more experience in our own community, but we're beginning to see a greater interest in it, or a program like that, even for our lay leaders and for people, members of the Vincentian family. Those 2 programs are 4 weeks long. We also have specialist programs. We're planning on one for the spring of 2014 in the spring for popular missions. It was called Agentes, but it really will be designed for those of us who are working outside of our home cultures, those who might be working in a parish, for instance, in another country. So it doesn't have to mean agentes in the sense of working with non-Christians, but especially for those who are working in renewal of parishes, working in new parish teams, and particularly those who are living and working in mixed cultures and mixed languages. We're designing a program for those conferers. That would be in the spring of 2014. There have been programs for the formators, and that will continue, and one program, at least one, maybe 2, for the brothers. So the specialist programs will continue based upon need and in conversation with the visitors and with the curia. These need to be decided upon a year to 2 or even longer before they're actually planned. So that we know that we have the number of people necessary to make a program like this possible. These changes already have happened, or they're beginning to happen now. But over the near future, what we're looking into and investigating the possibility of is to do what's called in universities distance learning. And there's many different forms of that. Some are simultaneous, where it's a course that's actually done, and wherever there's participation, they have to adapt to the time zone where it's done on the internet. That can be very difficult, but it's also the most common course. There's others that spread the timeline out so you can have participation worldwide at times that are more convenient. What is necessary is computer literacy and a very good internet connection, which, especially for those of you that are working in places that do not have a reliable electricity or in mission areas, that can be complex. Other variations of that we're looking for is to design or to redesign some of our programs for DVDs, or for a program that would be completely portable, that could be used on a computer but is not needed for the internet. The weakness of such programs like that is you do not have face-to-face contact. You're not living in community with your colleagues, and you're not visiting the Vincentian sites. So it's not the same. But in terms of exposure to the talks that have been done by experts, by our presenters, in terms of understanding better the constitutions, in terms of learning how to reflect and to relate your reflection to your work. There's much that can be done that we're not doing yet. So we hope to expand the capacity of CIF based on, in conversation with you and with some training from universities to include some of these possibilities. And perhaps most importantly and most recently, our Vincentian, our programs with and for the Vincentian family. We just finished the pilot program, which Joe Agostino coordinated in Paris. It's an international program. This first pilot program was done in English. We'll be doing another one, which will clarify a bit more what we hope to see happen. But these programs are intended to be redone and adapted in Portuguese, in Spanish, and in French, and in any other language. Of course, that would depend upon the experts, or especially from the congregation of the mission, that can participate in this and learn. Such a program has an element of Vincentian heritage, but which includes Vincentian spirituality, but also is directed towards new capabilities, new skill sets, new ability to work across barriers such as geographical lines, language lines, and in many cases, lines that we make our own selves, which prevent us from collaborating with each other in the Vincentian family. So we're looking into that. Hopefully you know about that and have been following that on the internet. But it is an exciting new change, and it's one that's been initiated by a commission established by Father Greg Gay. CIF is the site where we've been doing it, and been very happy. I've been very happy to collaborate in that effort. But it's new, and it shows a great deal of promise. What we hope to see happen in the area of ongoing formation is that you continue to do your own reflections. First of all, on your local level, what is it that you need to do with your own staff, with people that are your close collaborators, with people that help you manage and give leadership to your province? What kind of formation are you looking for and providing for them? And what ideas, or especially what has been working well for you? If there's any way you can share that centrally, perhaps with me, that can be shared with others with similar circumstances, that would be good. On the provincial level, what are your needs? What seems to be working and be helpful for the members of your province for ongoing formation? How are your members being renewed? This is way beyond sending people off for degrees and preparing them for university or for seminary work. It has to do with what a number of you said is a closer and ever more intimate identification with the spirit of Vincent de Paul and the spirit of our constitutions. So how is that renewal happening with you in your province today? Or what help do you think you may be able to utilize in order to make that better? Even more importantly is on the level of your region or on the conference. What ideas, what programs could be very useful to you? And even more so, what has worked and what would you like to do again? Have you done any reflection on that? Would you like to share that on any level? What I'd like to offer is, if any of these ideas, I'd be very willing to hear them from you or to be in correspondence with you by email or in any other way to share with you some other ideas, or perhaps see how we could utilize your Center of International Formation to further assist you on these different levels. But one idea I'd like to offer you is that CIF is not simply a place to send our members for a program, but more and more could be and should be a clearinghouse, a center of resources for all of us to share, at least in the 3 different languages, for our own ongoing permanent formation. So CIF has always been a gift to the members of our congregation, the mission. One of the earlier directors, John Reibold, who's with us today, always used to emphasize that the purpose of CIF was to give as a gift to our members, who are, after all, our most important resources. To provide this gift of time, of resources, and a place where renewal can happen as a Vincentian. The mission of CIF has always been to cultivate the vocation of each confer to follow Christ, the evangelizer of the poor. And all the programs of CIF always have this element to deepen the personal commitment of each man as a Vincentian missionary. The future of CIF, no matter what happens to it, can only improve with your cooperation and with your involvement. So thank you very much for this time. I'll be here this afternoon, and I'll be leaving tomorrow afternoon, and be happy to have conversation with any of you personally, and it's very happy to see so many of you here before, or since the last time.